Welcome back to the second part of my Halloween-themed Pokemon Crystal Nuzlocke. I know that this is a little bit late because honestly I wasn't sure how long Nuzlockes would take to complete, and it took much more time than I thought. But releasing this late actually gave me the time to carve this beautiful Pumpkaboo with my girlfriend, and now we can be graced by its presence today as a way to make up for the fact that this video is late. Here are the rules. This is a hardcore Nuzlocke and it's my first one ever. Before I put any spoilers on the screen, make sure that you've watched the first part. Links in the description, as well as the rules. Now, let's do this. Spoilers ahead. Here's a quick recap. I've only had 2 deaths so far. I lost Unknown at Faulkner and Delibird at Lance. The wound is still fresh. Goodbye, sweet little vampire, you'll be missed sorely. Also, many of you pointed out that I broke the rules in the last video. I did use an item during battle when training my Eevee. I used an X speed to raise Eevee's speed, which also raised its friendship. And that was the desired effect. I'm gonna let this slide and say that it didn't end the challenge because it didn't change the outcome of the fight. I just ran away from the Pokemon anyways. And I would have just ran around and got enough steps to raise the friendship if I didn't do that. So really, it was just a time save. With that out of the way, now I'm ready to face Kanto. My team currently is Celine the Crobat, Freddy the female Hypno, Binks the Umbreon, Pumpkin the Sudowoodo, and Lady the Haunter. Now, the level gaps get wonky in Kanto. Look at this list. Like, Janine is the lowest leader, and then Blue has a massive level gap from Blaine before him. The problem this creates for me is that I won't be able to use my current team to defeat the first leaders. But I think this is an opportunity instead, to use some of those awesome Dark-type Pokemon that are gated off in Kanto. Here's my strategy. First, I'll explore the map and get fly locations to most cities. While I do this, I'll catch some Pokemon. Remember, I can only catch Halloween-themed Pokemon. They're over here on the right if you need to reference which one's available. After that, I'll finish the plot off and then I'll train forever. Literally forever. This portion of training is the reason that this video was delayed. Once that's done, I'll take on the Kanto gym leaders, starting with Janine and progressing through them so that the level cap slowly rises. After all that's done, I'll decide on my final team and then grind forever again and prepare for the final challenge, Red. So the Pokemon available to me in Kanto are Murkrow, Houndour, Paris, Cubone, and Mr. Mime. Of course I won't be catching a Paris, and I don't intend to train a Cubone either. Sudowoodo fills that role already. Murkrow, Houndour, and Mr. Mime could be useful though. I named my Murkrow Crow after the movie The Crow. Creative, I know. Hey, that was a rhyme. It was actually kind of creative. I named my Murkrow Crow after the movie The Crow. Creative, I know. I named the Houndour Doomhound because that's the best name for it. And then I start to grind. I'm also going to add some Pokemon to my team from the Johto portion of the game that were boxed before the league, and as a result they're at lower levels right now. For instance, Carry the Raticate is going to be useful again. I just want to say, in reference to Murkrow and Houndoom, it's so nice to use these 2 dark types after catching them in the location that Game Freak intended. It feels like everything is right with the world now. No, I'm not serious at all. It's not nice. Why were these 2 cool Pokemon not available earlier? I'm never going to get over this. I finished the plot, it's really easy, there's no trainers to worry about here, even in a Nuzlocke. And now, with that, it's time for all the gym leaders. First up is Janine. It makes sense because she's the newest gym leader in Kanto, so of course her Pokemon are going to be at lower levels. She opens with Crobat, and I open with Carry. I use Return, and it does good damage, but Crobat survives in orange health. It screeches, and I knock it out the next turn. Weezing's next. I'm so terrified of it using Explosion and knocking Raticate out, so I switch in Skull, the Cubone. I caught him just for this. Unfortunately, Weezing uses Toxic and then Sludge Bomb and knocks Skull out without exploding. Alright Carry, let's try this again. Please don't explode. I use Return and it does so much damage. And Weezing faints. That was a critical hit. I level up to 40, and I just want to mention here that I only need to start the battle at level 39. I can level up during the fight. And then I get my chance to learn Super Fang. I decide to skip it though, I don't think it's going to be that useful in this playthrough. She sends out her second Weezing. This time I don't get a critical hit and Weezing survives, but it doesn't explode and I make it to Ariados. Alright, time to send in Crow, a flying type will be good against this bug. As soon as I looked at my learn set, I realized that I actually forgot to teach him Fly. Ariados isn't very strong offensively though, so I take it out with Feint Attack. Venomoth is last, and it's a fitting ace for any trainer. Crow has its number though, because it's a dark type, and so my moves are super effective against this ghost type. I finish it off and I earn the Soul Badge. Before I face Brock, I want to pick up Mr. Mime. In this case, a female Mr. Mime. This is perfect though, because I'm dressed up as a girl in this video, and Hypno's nickname is pretty gender bendy, so I nicknamed Mr. Mime Miss Mime. I put the time in and I train it, and with that, I'm ready to face Brock. He opens with Graveler. Can we stop having gym leaders open with mid-stage Pokemon? It just feels like a huge letdown. I set up Reflect to ensure that I minimize damage from him. I take a hit from Rollout, and then I use Psychic, which knocks the Rock type out in a single hit. Lord Helix is next. Psychic doesn't KO it, but it does enough damage to know if it's in 2-hit range. It retaliates with Spike Cannon and does very little damage over 3 hits. I'm moving on. Good job, Miss Mime. Rhydon is next, and Psychic gets the job done in a single hit. That leaves only Onix and Kabutops. Of these, I'm most worried about the Dark Lord. It has good attack stat and it has Slash, but it doesn't get a critical hit and I knock it out. That's 1 more badge collected. Only 6 more to go. It's time for Surge. Here I'll give Doomhound a chance to shine. After all, Surge has a Magneton and I really don't want to mess with it. I use Flamethrower against Raichu and it survives on red health, using Thunder Wave, but it misses. When playing a Nuzlocke, I love the fact that the AI has a 25% chance to miss status moves in Generation 1 and 2. I knock the mouse out and move on to Electrode. It starts to set up Double Team, but I've got Feint Attack for that. Flamethrower connects and the Pokeball survives. Because it's at low red health, it explodes. Ah! Oh, Doomhound survives with 30 hit points. I've got to switch out now for the next Electrode. Honestly, there isn't really a good option here. All of my Pokemon are awful defensively. I decide to use Miss Mime. Electrode sets up Double Team. I choose Reflect to minimize damage from Explosion. After that, it's time to hope that Psychic will connect. My first one does, but Electrode survives in red health and explodes. Okay. Miss Mime tanks it and moves on with green health. Magneton's next. I'm not happy. I wanted to use Flamethrower against it, but Psychic looks like it'll be 2-hit range. It uses Zap Cannon, but this thing's so inaccurate, like basically 1% chance to do damage, and it fails, allowing me to knock the bolts out. Electabuzz is last. Another strange humanoid Gen 1 Pokemon. My Reflect fades, I choose Psychic, it misses Thunder, and survives in orange health. I go for Psychic again, but this time Thunder connects. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Miss Mime survives with 3 hit points, and then gets paralyzed. Please, please, I need to connect, I need to connect. Psychic does, and I win the fight. That was way too close. Maybe Light Screen would have been a better idea to set up first before gambling and just thinking that I could take the Thunders. Next is Erica. It would be honestly disingenuous to hype this fight up. I have Doomhound, it has fire powers. Erica is a grass type trainer, she's just bad. I finish off all her Pokemon without even taking a single hit point of damage. However, up next is a leader I'm unsure if I'm prepared to face. Misty. I teach Miss Mime Thunder Punch so that I'm slightly more prepared. Other than that, my team doesn't stack up well against her. She leads with Golduck, one Pokemon I've actually never used, and I hope that that's going to change soon. I start with Miss Mime in order to set up and start Thunder Punching. Surf connects and does massive damage to me because of a lucky critical hit. Well, I guess it's unlucky. Lucky for Misty. I use Thunder Punch gambling that another critical hit won't occur. I know I need to play around the crits now, I've been thinking about that a lot. I luck out and knock the Golduck out. Starmie's next. I switch for Crow, allowing Surf to deal 1/3 damage. I strike back on the next turn with Feint Attack, taking the Starfish down to low orange health, and then Misty confuses my bird. I don't want to stay in, so I send out Doomhound. This was a calculated choice because I know that Starmie is probably thinking to use Ice Beam against Murkrow. It uses it, and I end up resisting the hit with my Fire type and then knock it out the next turn. It's time for Quagsire, another Pokemon that I've never used. I choose to stay in, I use Feint Attack, it sets up Amnesia, and I knock it out with a critical hit. Okay, I think that was actually lucky there, I probably should have switched out. All that remains is her ace Lapras. Honestly, I'm happy I made it here with a Fire type though. Flamethrower hits it for neutral damage, and the Lake Monster Turtle thing sets up Rain Dance. Okay, my Fire type can't stay in now. Carry the Raticate, let's try it. Surf takes her into orange health, and I cross my fingers and use Return. This could be it for Carrie, who's been around since the beginning if I don't do enough damage. But I do. I've defeated Misty, the toughest challenge yet in Kanto. The other piece of bread completing the Misty sandwich is Sabrina, and she's incredibly easy, just like Erica was, because I have a Dark-type Pokemon. Her Psychic types are basically useless against Crow, and I sweep through her entire team with ease. Now the level caps start to rise at a quicker pace. The jump from Sabrina to Blaine is 2 levels, and then 8 after that. I grind my whole team up, and then save the game in front of Blaine. I actually left off here and then panic edited the previous video because I knew that I wouldn't have enough time to train for Red and still release this on Halloween. When I came back, I just did this. Yeah, I just talked to Blaine right away. I have no idea who is in the lead spot of my party. And it's Crow. That's bad against Magcargo. I decide that I probably should stay in and try and use Feint Attack at least once. It does half damage, and the slug uses Curse, raising its defense. But dark moves are special, so I just keep attacking and it faints. Magmar's next. I switch into Miss Mime to have another battle of the strange Cantonian humanoids. Magmar sets up Sunny Day on the first turn, and I set up Light Screen. And then Magmar confuses me. I decide to take a shot at it with Psychic, but I damage myself and Fire Punch connects. I try again, this time Psychic connects, but Magmar survives. Another Fire Punch. The third turn here was pushing it though, because I damaged myself and then Fire Punch takes Miss Mime down to red health. Okay, I did not play around the crit there at all. I need to be more careful. Next, I choose Carry. Doomhound would have been the better choice though. With Return though, I knock out Magmar and I move on to Blaine's ace, Rapidash. I hit it with Return, the horse survives, and it misses a Fury attack. Then Blaine uses a Max Potion, and that gives me 2 turns to knock it out. So I guess Max Potion is better than Super Potion, and he did have health to heal, so that's like an improvement from Gen 1. Well done, Blaine. And with that, I've made it all the way to blue. Before I face him, I need to train, adjust, and upgrade my team. I head back to Johto and use the Move Tutor to teach Lady Thunderbolt, a strong special attack. A strong special attack just makes sense for her to have. While training, Binks levels up and starts to learn Moonlight. While playing this entire playthrough, I've actually been playing at night because, well, Halloween. So Moonlight's actually thematic, and it heals twice as much health at night. In combination with Leftovers, Binks is going to make a great tank. So there's only 2 battles left. Blue is first. In Pokemon solo challenges, he's usually one of the hardest trainers to defeat, so I'm very worried for him. He opens with Pidgeot. I start with Miss Mime. It's got an electric move, and I can set up so that the following Rhydon won't be as terrifying. I punch the bird, I do lots of damage, and paralyze it. It mirrors me, and then I knock it out. Who's next, Blue? Okay, Alakazam, that's a bit strange. Psychic type against Psychic type. I take more damage than I would have expected from Psychic, and it triggers a special defense drop. Even with the light screen, I think that I can only stay in 1 more turn. I hit with Thunder Punch, Reflect fades, and I send in Binks. I probably should have just gone for this right away. Alakazam spams Recover, and I knock it out over what felt like an eternity. Just die already! Rhydon's next. I decide I should set up Mudslap to lower its accuracy and give my other team members a chance to knock it out without taking damage. But Blue sends out Gyarados instead. Smart man. Defeating the Alakazam was what I'd describe as crawling pace, but this feels glacial. Blue keeps healing the Water Snake Dragon with full restores, but it just doesn't do enough damage to threaten me. I finally knock it out and Rhydon comes back in. This time I'll lower its accuracy and switch to Pumpkin. I pull it off and end the Rhino with an Earthquake. Executor follows, and it's going to be using Solar Beam, so I have 1 turn to damage it before I can switch to Celine and tank the damage from the Grass attack. Wing Attack finishes it off, and all that's left is his ace, Arcanine. I use Fly against it, do less than half damage, and then Flamethrower hits me for a lot. Time for Pumpkin again. The Rock Hard Tree. I use Earthquake, the doggo survives, and it burns me. Well, it's a good thing that Doomhound has great special defense. Nope, never mind. It gets roared away and Lady's pulled out. But that's okay, because she's fast. Thunderbolt finishes Blue off. That's it. I've arrived at the greatest challenge in the game. Red. Is the battlefield going to be red with the blood of my sweet Pokemon, or will my team emerge victorious? Let's find out. He opens with Pikachu, and I choose Pumpkin. I think that Earthquake will KO it even if I take the first turn's Charm. After that, I'll have to switch against whatever he sends out next, and that'll remove the stat debuff. The Pikachu faints, and Red chooses Espeon next. I thought that it was going to be Blastoise or Venusaur. Either way, I'll switch. I send in Doomhound, anticipating Red's use of Psychic, and then crunch the Psychic Cat, knocking it out in a single hit. Blastoise is next. I switch into Mr. Mime as I'm fairly sure it's going to set up Rain Dance. It does, I get a Light Screen off, tank Surf well, and then retaliate with Thunder Punch. I'm going to be able to do it. It takes 1 more turn and then the turtle faints. That's halfway. I'm doing surprisingly well so far. Snorlax is next. I've got a lot of health remaining on Miss Mime, so I set up Reflect, tank a Body Slam, and then switch into Pumpkin to tank another Body Slam. Now, I honestly didn't think about keeping Low Kick for this moment, but it kind of messes me up here, because it's on my moveset and it seduces me. I should have just used Rock Slide. Low Kick doesn't start dealing damage based on weight until Generation 3, so Rock Slide's actually going to be doing more damage in this case. A lot of you have mentioned how I don't use Low Kick on Jasmine's Steelix. Well, that's because it's only base 50 power in this generation, and there's usually a better move against her. Unfortunately today I wasn't even thinking about weight, I just thought Fighting type, super effective, use Low Kick. Either way, I finish off the bear and Red sends out Venusaur. Doomhound time. Quite frankly, it matches up well against his last 2 Pokemon. I knock the grass type out and then the Charizard is all that remains. I probably could stay in here, but I decide to use Pumpkin for the 4 times damage from Rock Slide. I tank a Fire Spin, and then the rocks fall, and the lizard faints. So this is a moment for celebration! I've completed my first ever hardcore Nuzlocke. I'll make a tier list for Nuzlockes and rank them based on their perceived difficulty. For now, I don't have enough data to give Halloween Crystal an accurate ranking though. We'll have to wait till I do a few more. We got over 2,500 likes on the last video, so I've already begun work on my next Nuzlocke. These are going to release concurrently with my challenge videos, so know that you can always depend on regular challenge content every Sunday. The Nuzlockes aren't going to be replacing Pokemon challenges. Like, subscribe, ring the chime echo and make it happy, and leave a comment, and that makes me happy. If you want to support me directly, consider joining my Patreon. If you already have, thank you so much. If you made it this far, you're incredible. I'll see you in my next video.